transparently circulated amongst all staff across all divisions, teachers, academics across the university. And as a result, it helped us in bringing out such cases, which led to further improving those. And many times, I think in 6 or 7 cases, we had to again refix the pay. So transparency, basically, it helped us in improving or nullifying the issues of wrong pay fixation. Then even our annual increments, these are circulated to all the staff. So I'll give an example. There is an example of one of our teachers, and he was drawing a very high pay. And in fact, he had represented some 5 years back, then still nothing had happened. And so it was brought to the notice of the university by one of our senior teachers. And then we were able to resolve this anomaly, which was pending for almost 9 years. And then there was a recovery of almost 20 lakhs from that person. Then if you see that, so what else? Wider circulation of decisions is also like one way of transparency. Very recently in the recruitment, we had advertised for 116 posts, and then all these applications were screened. So what we knew was that the results of screening were uploaded on the university's website for information of all the stakeholders as well as anybody, and then every candidate or any other person who may be directly or indirectly related to the process, they were given an opportunity to raise their grievance or representation within 15 days, 20 days, or whatever time. Usually 15 days was given, but then we took even any representation, even if it is coming after 3 months or even 1 day prior to the conduct of interview. So as a result, it helped us in minimizing all the any grievance. And so like we uploaded results of almost 80 posts, wherever all the 100 posts, 116 posts, we uploaded the results of screening. Then wherever the grievances were received, they were again screened, placed again before the screening committee, and then again the results were again placed before the on the website. So it overall improved our functioning as well as it nullified or basically minimized the grievances or the complaints which would have occurred had we not done this. अभी क्या slide move कर रही है सर? नहीं कर रही?
कर रही है. Don't bully.
Yeah. So this is one other aspect of which I think of governance or vigilance that I wanted to raise, that I do not bully as well as do not be bullied. In fact, a good officer is one who is not bullied by anybody, wherever, how so high or mighty a person may be who is bullying you. As well as a good officer is also one who is not bullying your juniors or your other staff. So basically, it also helps us in what should we do? Always propose or put proposals which are inconsistent with the rules, guidelines, and set principles. There are few cases of counting of past services, and they were pending for so many years. We were able to review some, but then there were few cases, and the ACD or the institution was being bullied again and again. But we never took that pressure. Ultimately, because we said that what is right as per law will be done. Bullying or pressurizing doesn't help. We do not work under pressure. So this is one other aspect is about like spreading rumors without verifying facts. So there have been many examples wherever the rumors are being spread without even checking from the concerned division or the concerned persons that what is actually happening. I will give one example. There was a case of CAS pending for some time, and still it is pending. And we found out that the applications submitted by the concerned person I'm not naming the person, so all my examples are like without any name. So the application submitted by the concerned person, so they were submitted 2 times, and in both the applications there was variation of data, and the documents supported which were appended in support of the data in both the cases was similar document but having different data. So ultimately it is under process. So this is, then there are again examples wherein the person may not be meeting the minimum requirements, still they are pressurizing to conduct the CAS. So these are some examples. So basically, if we all work as per established practices, norms, and guidelines, then the problem will be minimized. Dealing before I proceed further, I'll be dealing with the CCS conduct rules and as well as the office procedure manual, which we come across day to day. And so, what is misconduct? Commission of undesirable acts or omission of desirable acts is a misconduct. Many times we process proposals, we put up files, and then we write only what we want to write and omit certain factual data which would have helped the seniors or the authorities in arriving at a justifiable decision. So, commission of undesirable acts or omission of desirable acts is also a misconduct. Deviant behavior against accepted norms and guidelines is certainly a misconduct. Doing what is not expected to be done or not doing what is expected to be done is also a misconduct. It also includes willful insubordination or disobedience, whether alone or in combination with others, to any lawful or reasonable order of his superior. Then, infidelity, unfaithfulness, dishonesty, untrustworthiness, or theft and is also misconduct. Strike, gherao, riotous and disorderly behavior, habitual late attendance, inconsistent or incompatible with the due or peaceful discharge of his duty to his master, etc. I'll give an example here before I proceed to the CCS conduct rules 1964. In fact, around a year back, we received a leave request from one of our colleagues, and it was supported by a medical certificate. And so we just processed it, and then while processing, we noticed that the medical certificate that such request has been done with a similar medical certificate from the very same person, and then in all the cases, the medical certificate was issued from the hometown of the person. So we again, it raised curiosity. The case was examined. It was found out that every time the person would leave station, reach his hometown, and then I think there was some connection error. Am I visible now? I mean, the slide is visible now.
Slide is not visible now. Please
slide is visible now.
No, the PPT got disconnected, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I hope now it is visible, na?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Visible.
So I was given an example. तो हर बार हमें ऐसे 5-6 बार हो गया और हर बार वो हमारे साथी जाते थे अपने घर पे और वहां से फिर एक ईमेल भेजते थे कि मैं बीमार हूँ और मैं जब वापस ज्वाइन करूंगा तो मेडिकल सर्टिफिकेट सबमिट कर दूंगा. एंड इट वाज हैपनिंग रिपीटेडली. So when it was examined, we sought a report from the director that whether any station leaving permission was given to the person. And then it was observed that in none of the previous cases or even that instances, the station leaving permission, it was never given. So ultimately, how an officer left the station, reached his hometown without station leaving permission. So it was basically like a planned activity every time in order to save one's earned leave and then to utilize the medical leave. Ultimately, the process is on, and then we observe that there are at least 6 or 7 similar cases of similar persons in the university repeating these things. Anyway, these are under examination, and I will not dwell further on it. So now CCS conduct rules 1964. They have started with effect from 1964, and then it is like and rule 3 of the CCS conduct rule is most operative rule in the code of conduct, and then the fundamental requirement is the slide move कर रही है क्या? Hello.
अभी सब रूल 1 रूल 3 आ गया सर.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, coming in. Anyway, the internet connection is unstable, but then stable. So the sub rule 1, I have quoted only a few examples. I am not giving all those 23, 24 rules. Only a few examples I have. Sub rule 1 of rule 3 is every government servant at all times is required to maintain absolute integrity, devotion to duty, and then he should not do anything which is unbecoming of a government servant. And in fact, most of the disciplinary proceedings arise out from the breach of this rule, rule 1 of sub rule 3, and in our cases also, I think out of the 15, 16 cases of disciplinary proceedings, I think more than 10 or 11 were under rule 3, and then except a few cases of plagiarism and then some FEMA violation and all. Rule 3. शेर सिंह जी अपना ऑडियो बंद कर दीजिए. Thank you. So sub-rule 2 of rule 3 is supervise the post to take all possible steps to ensure the integrity and devotion to duty of his subordinates, employees to act in his best judgment in the performance of his official responsibility, except when he is acting under the direction of his official superior in writing. I'll come. Then direction of the official superior should be in writing. Where oral direction is unavoidable, this should be followed up by the officer superior in writing soon after. Then an employee who has received oral direction from his officer superior should seek confirmation of the same in writing as early as possible. So many times we do not follow these rules, and for example, I'll give you 2-3 examples. Very recently, I received a proposal. I received a file from one of a close friend about printing of a journal. The proposal has already been approved, and so in that file there was a note sheet of 1 para and then a corresponding note of 1 page listing the articles to be published. So it was submitted to the Vice Chancellor, and the Vice Chancellor has had in turn marked the file to us for examination. So this person, she contacted us, and then we said that where is the proposal? Ultimately, what we are doing, you are doing is you are submitting a 1-page proposal to the Vice Chancellor for approval of printing of a journal which does not include even the articles. There is no plagiarism report. There is nothing related to who has edited the articles, because ultimately it is the university's publication. And so this is like higher authorities should be informed of rule position or related information complete in all respect. This is the basic principle. We may not say that because the proposal has been approved by the Vice Chancellor or by the director that so I have got the authority to do it. No, if a proposal has been moved without placing all the records, all the supporting documents, and then without informing the higher authority in writing that, okay, these are the supporting documents, and then this is the rule position, then if an approval is given on that proposal, then it is not the right thing. Ultimately, what you're doing is that you are also troubling yourself as well as putting in trouble the higher authority, because it was an incomplete proposal and the higher authority was not able to take a conscious decision and informed decision, keeping in view all the necessary documents. Then many times we have observed that the file is placed to the higher authorities, to the superiors, seeking their directions. Ultimately, why do you seek direction? If there is a rule, if there is a proposal, then there is a rule to deal with such a proposal. Then why do you seek direction? Ultimately, many times we feel that, okay, we are in a dilemma, that if I propose a particular proposal as per rule, then my senior will not like it. Ultimately, liking or disliking is nothing to do with your official behavior or your office procedure. So seeking direction should be avoided at all costs. Always propose whatever you want to propose, and but propose not as per your own whims and fancies, but as per establishment. Direction of higher authority is not consistent with rules, then he should be informed of the same, that okay, you have arrived at this direction, but then it is not as per rule. There may be earlier examples or precedences, but then the rule says this. Then approval of a proposal inconsistent with rules by higher authority, it does not give impunity to the person who had moved the proposal, because ultimately moving a proposal which is not consistent with the rules also is not correct. I'll give you 2-3 examples. Then many times we a long case pending for disposal, vigilance case, and at least in 2 cases, the screening committee in one case it did not find any candidate suitable to be called for interview, and in the other case it found only, I think, 3 candidates suitable for the interview, and then there were representations which are also not meeting the requirement. So the higher authority, they gave direction to call such and such person for interview. There was a problem with the connection. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it is visible now, sir.
Yeah, in fact, there has been again the connection breakout many times. Yeah. Then, I was giving an example of how the names of certain candidates were included in the list of the candidates to be called for interview. Then there had also been examples wherein the eligibility conditions were modified post advertisement, and so it led to vigilance cases, and then the cases kept on running for, I think, more than a decade. Now, because of the CVO, they have been finally concluded. Rule 4 says that the employment of near relative of government servants in companies or firms should not be there, because an employee should not be using his or her influence in procuring employment of for family members in an institution or in a company or any member. And then all employees except Group D under the Government of India on first employment should furnish information in respect of their close relatives. Now, there have been examples of appointment of relatives. There have been examples of relatives in selection committees, and ultimately it led to the recent guidelines by Vigilance Cell about the do's and don'ts in case of conducting selection committee recruitments, so as to avoid the recurrence of any such things. I'm giving only the past examples. Now, not to take part in politics, do not do any canvassing, and not even allow family members to participate. Joining of associations should be avoided. Then demonstrations and strike by government servant against the government or which are prejudicial to the interest of the government to be avoided. Then many times that we feel we are so eager to connect with the press or other media, even that is also not permitted as per Rule 8, except when you're doing the AIR program. Criticism of government is a strict no. No, when we say about government, it is also the institution. Criticizing your own institution or the acts done by your institution, public or without exhausting the proper channels of grievance redressal within the institution is also, they should not be done. Then government servants are not permitted except with the previous sanction of the government. So in this case, the institution, to give evidence in connection with any inquiry conducted by any person, committee or authority. However, it does not apply to those who appear before the pay commissions on behalf of service associations. Then there have been instances, unauthorized communication of information has been, it was done. So there have been instances, such instances noted, and then the advisory is issued for leaking information about gifts. In fact, there is a rule: do not accept or permit any member of your family to accept any gift, whether it is in cash or kind. And if any gift has been received and if the value is more than 5,000, it should be reported to the government. And even transportation, boarding, lodging, or other services, or any other pecuniary
Dr. Devkant, you are not audible. Dr. Devkant, are you there?
Yeah, I think again I'm back. There is a problem of connectivity. Yeah, just a minute. Okay. So we were at rule 13. Now, about Rule 15, one has to avoid entering into private trade or employment without prior permission of the government, uh, and also not hold an elective office or converse in support of any business of insurance agency. In fact, there is an example of an inquiry conducted by one of the statutory body, apex body, and so a very senior official of that, I had also gone in that inquiry. A very senior official of that institution had opened a study center, and in his wife's name, and then in fact there were many study centers opened by that person. So we reached the institution, and then we did not find anything except that there was a transaction of payment of the exam fee by means of a draft, and then this draft was signed was filled in by that person, by the concerned employee, and ultimately it all came out that there were more than 5 study centers opened by that person in the name of his wife. Disciplinary inquiry happened, and then it led to termination of the employee. Is a separate matter. Can always report the government if any member of your family is engaged in a trade or business or owns or manages an insurance agency. No government servant may accept any fee for any work done by him for any private or public body. No part-time employment is allowed. Then subletting and vacation of the government accommodation, there is nothing much in it. Now, not to enter into transactions regarding movable or immovable without the previous action of the prescribed authority. In fact, there have been disciplinary actions taken in respect of a few cases wherein the property was purchased, but the IPR was not submitted, the institution was not informed, which led to issue of the advisory and warning to the concerned person. So wherever you are entering or you are purchasing a new property or entering into a kind of collaboration or a written agreement to purchase the property, some amount has been given, always inform the institution. Otherwise, it may lead to violation of Rule 16, and then the action may be initiated. There have been instances, I have already spoken about it, now about the restrictions in relation to acquisition and disposal of immovable property outside India and transactions with foreigners. So there had been even one case about the foreign transactions, and so always do not enter into any kind of pecuniary gains or sale purchase of a property outside India. काफी लोगों में क्रेज है, दुबई में प्रॉपर्टी खरीदना चाहते हैं लोग, लेकिन it's not permissible, should not be done. Next is. Now, no government servant shall, except with the previous sanction of the government, have recourse to any court or to the press for vindication of any official act. And in fact, there have been instances when the employee has approached authorities outside universities, whether visitor or the ministry, without exhausting the university channel. So what is required is that one has to exhaust all the channels of grievance redressal within the institution, within the university. And if even after exhausting all the channels, if the grievance is not redressed, then the person may approach the concerned authority, higher authorities outside the university. But before that, it cannot be done. There have been instances when we had to issue warning letters to a few employees who had approached ministry or the higher authorities for redressal of their grievances without even submitting to the university once what is their grievance. Then canvassing of non-official or other outside influences. In fact, it is very common that we keep on receiving pressure for transfers, postings and promotions, which is also not correct. In fact, no government servant should bring or attempt to bring any political or other outside influence to bear upon any superior authority to further his interest in respect of matters pertaining to his service under government. Many times we have seen that relatives or the spouses are also writing on behalf of the employee. It is also a violation of Rule 20 of the CCS conduct rules. Now, what is office? Just 2-3 slides, I'll cover the office procedure. There is a office procedure manual of the central government, and if you open that manual, you would find, and I have just listed 3-4. One is that whenever, many times, it so happens that the junior officer, he jumps the senior in line and submits the proposal directly to the authority. And so what should be done? That whenever there is a jumping, either the file should be marked back to your superior when the file comes back. Otherwise, it will again be in violation of the Office Procedure Act. Then the dealing, then about the noting. All notes shall be concise and to the point, and the dealing hand shall append date on the left below the note. In fact, this is such a problem we have observed that in 90% cases, these are only a different kind of signature put in by the officers on the file without any name or any date. Or so it is mandatory that your full name should be there. The best is that your stamp should be there. Otherwise, the name and the date has to be clearly written while submitting the note. We have also observed that the files are submitted to the seniors, and then the seniors, they do not like a particular kind of note, then they ask the junior to change the note or change the note sheet. In fact, this is again a violation of the Office Procedure Act, because if a senior is not agreeing with the notings of the junior, then he has all the right to put his own comments in the note sheet without pressurizing the junior to change the note as per his own fancies or his own likings. Then many times it so happens that if I'm writing a note and then there is a correction, then what I would do is, we have seen that I would paste a note sheet over that writing. It is again not correct. Never ever paste a note over a portion of a note to conceal what has been written therein. If at all there is a need to revise or to make corrections, then strike it off, write again, or type again below that note. It should never be done. Never conceal by pasting a note over already written note. Then the oral discussion. Many times the authority would call and then give oral discussions, and then the file is submitted. Wherever there are oral discussions or the oral instructions, then they should be recorded in file so that they become a record that, okay, you were instructed to move a file. And even if there are oral instructions and then the oral discussions, the note has to be as per rule. Oral discussions or oral instructions do not authorize you or do not compel you to put up a note which is not consistent with the rules. They are required to be always consistent with the rules. then wherever an officer is giving direction, including telephonic directions, the subordinate shall ordinarily do so in writing. And when an officer is acting under instructions of an official superior, he shall obtain the directions in writing wherever practical before carrying out the instructions. So this is also like very necessary. Friends, in fact, like prevention is better than cure. And so if we work as per the set principles, the set guidelines, and as I said in the beginning, these 4 documents, your acts, statutes, and ordinances, your CCS conduct rules, CCS, CCA rules, and the office procedure manual, then I think the problem of grievances, of vigilances are going to be minimized to a large extent, to a great extent. I think there will not be any problem in dealing or with your official matters. So thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Devkant. It was a very excellent presentation. Can you please stop sharing now so that we can have questions? And
I'm just.
Thank you so much. And there is a request in the chat box requesting you to share your slides with all of them.
It is already stopped.
They have requested you to please share your slides. These are really useful as felt by the participants. I would request, in case you have any questions, anything to discuss or anything else, please come one by one.
Jaideep ji.
Yes, sir.
I'm Professor Suresh, Director, School of Computers. First thing is, it's an excellent presentation by Dr. Devkant. He made it very concise so that we don't need to go through heavy rule books. So that's the reason why I requested him to share the slides. But however, I have one doubt which I think I can ask in this particular forum. If an employee doesn't come to office even for half a day and is not ready to apply for leave, even after being officially asked to apply for leave, can director recommend deduction of leave from his account to the ACD?
Why not? Why not? If the director is not doing so, he is also inviting, the violation of the code of conduct. It is the responsibility or the duty of the director or the head of the institution. And when I say it's the institution, it is your own department to basically ensure that the rules are followed. And the rule is that the official timings are to be followed. If they are not being followed, then definitely it is to be done. If you are not doing it, then maybe you are not following it properly. It is to be done.
Okay.
Without fail. Without fail.
That is what actually the reason why I asked it is, sometimes people say that if somebody took leave without taking permission and not ready to apply for the leave, it comes under unauthorized options from the duty, and even service may break up.
Sir, I'll tell you one thing. Sir, I'll tell you one thing. There are different ways of dealing with it. Idea is, we are working with our own colleagues. And so many times, I'll give you some examples of different departments, of different schools, that if someone is absent, then the director, he or she will simply send a note to us that such and such person has taken a leave on that day, if the leave was not submitted by the concerned person. But then, opening a dialogue with that person, the so-called defaulter, as per your, as your experience, then many times opening a dialogue and then resolving that issue with dialogue will be better than doing that kind of official communication and all. We are all, colleagues, and then everybody, I think in most of the cases, they are ready to listen, and then they are ready to change or mend their ways.
Yeah, thank you.
But I have already told you the rule position.
No, that I completely agree with you. We have to follow by the rule ultimately. Okay, because as you said, discussions off the record don't come on the papers.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the people don't get convinced, we go on the record and we only quote the things that are done on the record.
Yeah.
So as for on the record, whatever is there, that action that needs to be taken will be recommended. So that's what I understand. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions, clarifications, observations? Actually, it was quite detailed and self-explanatory. Therefore, there are no questions. But then it was really interesting, and I think this would really help us all to do better and be more vigilant. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity of speaking to my colleagues, and especially those who are sitting at far off places at the RCs. They have. I would also like to share with many of my colleagues, whether they are teachers or academics across various schools of studies and the RCs, that after your promotion, the pay fixation is under process. The problem is that maybe we are not able to convince the other divisions, I would not name the divisions, about a particular way of pay fixation. It is happening. We are at it. Every file is under movement. Every file is under movement. It is not pending with us. And as and when it will be done, it will be done. Thank you. So please do not have any anxiety that it is not happening.
Thank you. Thank you. So may we invite now Dr. Umesh Pandey with his topic, which is seems to be very innovative. He will be talking on Swachhta and linking with vigilance. Dr. Pandey, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Sharma, and all the colleagues from the regional centers and the various divisions of the university headquarters. And let me try to share this presentation if I can. Otherwise, I will request Professor Jaideep Sharma ji to please upload it from his end, because just a minute. Are you able to see?
Yes, we can see that. Please put it on slideshow.
Slideshow. Just
Yeah.
a minute. What exactly I have to do to put it? Is it okay now? Hello?
Yes, it is
Yes,
there.
sir, it's okay. It's visible.
Okay. So thank you very much, all the colleagues. First of all, let me extend my sincere thanks to Professor Jaideep Sharma for giving me this opportunity to make a presentation in this series of 4 lectures which CVO has organized. And the topic, in fact, this topic which I have chosen for this presentation is towards a new vision of cleanliness in offices, and a special campaign 2.0 during this 2nd October to 31st October, which I just concluded yesterday. And I thought that this theme makes a sense when we are talking about this Vigilance Awareness Week. It is important because the concept of Swachhta in the offices, people used to relate it only to the physical cleanliness in the offices. That was fine, means till means 1 or 2 years back. Whenever we used to talk about cleanliness, people used to think about just a physical kind of cleanliness in the office. But now the kind of the special campaign which has now initiated means we have just concluded it yesterday, and it will go on, means it will continue. Those systems and processes which have been put in place will go on now. So that has much beyond the physical, the kind of cleanliness. It talks about a complete vision of cleanliness. And when we are talking about issues of good governance or the issues of vigilance in the system, and obviously all those issues and concerns which have been enshrined in this special campaign, they are almost the same. I will just give reference to a statement by our Honorable Prime Minister in in a message to the nation on the Good Governance Day on 25th of December 2014, when he said that an important step for good governance is the simplification of procedures and processes in the government, so as to make the entire system transparent and faster. And then he goes on saying that our government needs to consider the redressal of public grievances as a very important component of a responsible. And then these issues which come out of the kind of message which he gave to the nation actually was in the context of good governance. But recently, this special campaign which was initiated, again, the same kind of issues under the context of the Swachhata have now come. The issues which the government is focusing now is the quick decision making under the banner of this Swachhata, means a special campaign for such a cleanliness in the offices. It talks about quick decision making, means we need the quick decision making not only for good governance, we also need it for vigilance also. We need it in the context of creating a clean working environment in the office. So they are related issues. We don't have to focus separately on good governance or separately on vigilance related issues or separately on the Swachhata. They are interrelated issues. That is one point which I want to make. So this point which have now come up in this special campaign 2.0 is the first is that to promote quick decision making. Second is to simplify the procedures and processes and make the system transparent. It's making the system transparent by way of making the procedures and processes simpler. To make the quick grievance redressal system and do away with inefficient practices. So quick grievance redressal system, that is an issue which we have been talking a lot about when we show the concern for good governance and vigilance, but the issue has now again come up in the context of Swachhata also, to digitize the government records or to adopt modern practices of the governance and shed traditional value system. So these 5 major points which I have identified out of this campaign 2.0 have a lot to do with the vigilance. There is a lot to do with our concerns, our cherished stream of good governance. So I will just give reference to a special campaign 1.0 last year. In fact, in the year 2021 also, a campaign was launched, and that campaign had the objective of to reduce the pendency in the various government departments and make Swachhata a people's movement. So in the context of Swachhata, the pendency in the government offices were also addressed. Second, last year, I am talking about last year, 2021, to reduce the number of rental premises which were not in use and judicious maintenance for the government files and getting rid of obsolete. So such concept of Swachhata now government took it to a wider context to improve record management activities of the government office. In this campaign, nearly means lakhs of these square feet of office space was also freed, and in this campaign about 12 lakh square feet of office space was freed, and around 62 crore rupees of scrap was disposed of. This is the last year. So you can imagine, means around 12 lakh square feet of office space which was occupied by the obsolete material last year, it was freed, and if this much of space was created for for organizing office related activities, and then 62 crore rupees of scrap was also disposed of, and all these scrap was occupying this much of space in the offices. So within the context of Swachhata, these 3 issues last year were addressed, and a number of best practices also emerged from this campaign last year. And the space was freed and it was converted to utility centers like cafeteria, parking lots, etc. Obsolete papers were identified and recycled for reducing total quantity of waste. NGOs and civil societies were involved in the whole process. Improvement in the record management practices and the identification of underutilized assets was also brought about. And saving government's expenditure from getting wasted and using those freed resources for better utilization. So this is what happened last year. It was a great experience. it was a very successful experience last year when the government made this campaign for Swachhata more broad-based. But motivated by that success of the last year's campaign, this time this special campaign 2.0 was launched with the and then it was made even more broad-based. This time, and it has now gradually it is bringing in more and more kind of concerns of the vigilance and good governance also in it. So prime objective of this special campaign this year, which started on 22nd of October and it lasted on 31st of October. So first was the prime objectives. All these things we have already communicated to you and you know about it because you have done that campaign during 2nd October to 31st of October. But still I will repeat them here. To ensure, the first objective was to ensure the disposal of pending matters in the government offices and the ministries. So this is a new kind of thing which was brought in this time. That is MPs references or the references from the state governments, interministerial references or the parliamentary assurances, PMO references or public grievances and appeals, where or how to minimize the pendency for these issues and how to ensure the disposal of these pending matters in a most expeditious way was one of the major objectives for this campaign this year. Second is to strengthen internal monitoring mechanisms for doing it. Third was to train officers in the record management. Then to manage space, digitize of physical records for improved record management, weeding out of old and obsolete records, disposal of scraps, incentivizing and promoting 3 Rs. Incentivizing and promoting 3 Rs, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So these issues were also brought in. Then to review and simplify existing rules and procedures to reduce compliance burden. That was again a major, very good objective, which the government believes, and it has proved, it has improved also. So if we reduce compliance burden, we can attract more investment in the country. So, but in any case, this simplification of rules and procedures is true for even in a university setup where how this simplification of rules and procedures can help us to make the learning more enjoyable for the students. All those kind of things also make sense for the university also, not only for the business point of view for the country. Then to institutionalize cleanliness in the government departments and to sensitize government officials about cleanliness. That was a major objective for this. And to provide a good experience to the people who come to the government office with their problems and recommendations. So in the context of IGNOU, this is a mandate of the student charter also. So like this, these prime objectives were there and few more points here. The successful completion of this campaign 1.0 has induced a sense of confidence now in the government, and now since this second campaign, it was made broad-based, and it aims to bring cleanliness in the people's level and sensitize governmental agencies about its utility. So once the campaign is concluded, it is reviewed by a third party, and the proposal is then presented before the Council of Ministers. Various best practices would be disseminated out of this activity and will be displayed in a workshop. So that was a major, again, a major objective for this. And very soon, I think the government is going to reward also some of the best practices which I must do in this period. So what I mean to say is that this is now a major focus for the government. And this Swachhata Campaign 2.0 has a lot to do with our concerns for vigilance also. So we need to address them simultaneously. So expected benefit out of this campaign, and in the context of our university, we have achieved it to a great extent. So I am very happy to see that all the regional centers have done a great job in as far as implementing this campaign is concerned. I will show you a few pictures also which we have received from the regional centers. And the first expected outcome for this campaign was to minimize the pendency in the government departments, which I just now told you, to improve the quality of the governance, better interface with the government and the citizen. When we are talking about citizen in the context of our university, we on the student and the university interface, or the general citizens interface with our university. So a better interface to be created. In other words, it aims to keep the citizen at the center of the decision-making process. Again, that was the expected outcome. So how exactly we are going to do it to put the citizen at the decision-making process, in the decision-making processes of our university? How it will come out of this campaign, we will discuss it. It will create smart offices with digital record maintenance, quick decision making. It will lead to quick decision making. Dependency and cost overrun of the projects can be reduced. Auditing, enhancing interministerial coordination. A faster decision making process will boost investor sentiments, as I told you that. So these are all the expected outcomes. Environmentally friendly practices by reducing the quantum of waste which has been generated in the various government offices. Digitization now is an integral part of the government departments now, and that is a focus of this campaign. Records which hold importance in the present context should be kept in a safer format, and the records which have outlived their utility would be scrapped with due process. So all these expected outcome of this campaign are there. The timeline, as all of you know, that this preparatory phase was from 14th September to 30th of September. And implementation phase was, it started on 2nd of October and it lasted on 31st. So on the preparatory phase, we had issued instructions to all the regional centers, requesting them to plan the activities, and so that the concerns for these campaigns can be fulfilled. And whatever plans the regional centers had drawn, they implemented them in this implementation phase. So very systematically, regional centers have done it. We have been receiving feedback from the regional centers about the plans which they had made, and then how they were implementing it during the phase. RSD was monitoring this activity. As per these concerns of the campaign, we systematically did it this time. A report is being generated by RSD now, which will be submitted to the authorities. In the implementation phase, the data is being collected. We did not collect data on daily basis, but we collected in between the implementation phase, and then we prepared an interim report. But now a final report is to be generated, for which yesterday we sent you a Google link. And photographs, we also asked you to take photographs of before and after conditions of the site, wherever the cleanliness exercise, where exercise was undertaken, to take the photograph before the intervention and after the intervention. So some of the regional centers have not taken it before the intervention, and they immediately started intervention and they sent us the photograph of after the intervention. So anyway, some of the regional centers have sent it as per our requirement, and some of them have not sent it. Anyway, next time we will do it in a better way, because we just want to see it, because if we would have to send a report to the government also and tell them about how our interventions have led to the change in our field for offices. Compiling best practices again, and my request to you is that several best practices might have come out during the special campaign, and some of the regional centers in their feedback to us have mentioned about some new practices which they have initiated. That is very interesting, that some of the centers have really done well and they have generated some good practices. So my request to you will be to prepare full-fledged reports on those best practices so that we can submit it before the authorities. And at the same time, please also keep on sending reports about these interventions and these best practices in the DGNews also. So outcome of the special campaign, this is the all India picture. This is what I have taken from their website, and it shows that during the ongoing campaign, this 2.0, the space which was freed was 1,23,508. That was this data I took in while the campaign was going on, so data must have changed by now. And in our regional centers, I have from 44 regional centers, I had got this data few days back. Updated data is yet to come from the regional centers, but till few days back, The space which has been freed in the regional offices is 18,027 square feet in 44 regional centers. That is quite interesting. And we have not received this by that time when I took this data. The detailed data had not come out, but this figure is quite impressive, I think, because 18,027 square feet of area has been freed, and the absolute material has been disposed of, or it is in the process of getting disposed of, is quite an interesting and good outcome, particularly keeping in view of the fact that most of our regional centers are in rented premises, and so obviously there are space constraints. So, but still, the way they have done it is really commendable. Some of the regional centers, despite the fact that they have been operating from just premises of say 3,000 square feet, but still they rearrange their things in such a way that they could take out some space for the office use. And cleanliness sites, sorry, cleanliness sites which have been identified and from 44, obviously from 44 RCs and RSD also. This is what we have. Sites have been identified. The actual figure will be more. Easing of rules and practices. Several new things have been done by the regional centers for easing out of the rules. Public grievances disposed of. The zero pendency on this.
The slide is not moving. Slide is not moving.
Slides are not moving.
We are on the third slide.
I'm talking about the same slide. I'm talking about the same slide.
Third slide.
Yeah. And then, so overview of the RC's report. No pendency on the action planned or initiated by the regional center on the references given by MPs. These are the 11 points actually of that special campaign on which the focus was given. So on all these points, we had taken feedback from regional centers, and the 44 regional centers which had responded few days back, they have reported no pendency of, and I'm very happy to see that on weekly basis also we have been taking this feedback of the student grievances, and what we find that in most of the regional centers, excepting few, means of the order of 1 or 2 regional centers out of 57 regional centers, the total pending queries have been brought down to 0. So means they have not been weekly pendency. And in 1 or 2 regional centers, wherever we have found that they have not been able to minimize it, but that total number of pendency has not been very big. That was of the order of 20-30 for all the RCs taken together. This figure is quite impressive, and I would like to congratulate all the regional centers that they have been working very hard to bring down the pendency, and on the weekly basis, no pendency of the student grievances has been there. It is very difficult to actually pinpoint also, because the moment you bring it down at 6 o'clock to the 0 level, then again the few more queries come. So in any case, on most of these parameters, we have done our job well. Action is in the process of record and space management at the regional center. So the record and space management also is one of the important point of this campaign. Some of the regional centers have organized these programs, sensitization workshops for their officers, for and other employees, and most of the other regional directors have also been participating in these programs. For instance, the Vadakara had invited a very prominent person from the ministry to talk about the record and space management issues. That was very interesting to see that our regional centers are networking with the ministries, also with their resource persons, and then organizing these kind of workshops. Total around 10, I think, the workshop which I have come to know, but actual number is more, because I am not aware about, because I have not been well for last 2-3 days. I could not keep track of it. So around 10 workshops which have been organized across the country in different regional centers. That is in my notice, but actual number I know that will be much more than this. So I congratulate all of you for holding this workshop in a very short period of time. action being planned by the RCs for weeding out of the old and obsolete material. This is what has been reported to us, that they have sent us pictures also, that is in process. So I would like to request all the RCs to finalize this process as fast as possible, because that is something which has to be done. Guidelines have already been issued by RSD how to weed out old and obsolete material. So now you can finalize that process at your end. And many RCs have already done it, but those who have not done it, is they have separated the obsolete material, but they have not so far disposed it off. So please do it as fast as possible. Awareness generation was a major target for this awareness campaign, and for which again the RCs have done quite good job. They have been organizing such awareness workshops. Best practices initiated, and some of the RCs have initiated best practices which are in my notice, so I will tell them about those best practices also later in this presentation. And redressal mechanisms for grievances is a tool for corruption-free organization. That is a point which I would like to make here. And because most of the RCs have been dealing with the student grievances on daily basis, and on weekly basis they give us feedback. And we have several portals. Even the government has a CPGram portal. We have our own IGNOU portal. And these queries have to be regularly responded by the regional center. The first point here is how fast you respond to the grievances is important, because a grievance, if it comes, should be resolved on the same day. Because we take feedback from the regional centers on weekly basis, but please, I have been emphasizing regularly through my emails to you that please don't wait till the end of the week to resolve those grants. Because we have been monitoring through our portal also, that's in some of the regional centers, what happens is that most around 20% of the grievances of the total, we have found that they were resolved between the 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock on the last day, working day of the week. That is something no practice we should we should resort to this kind of practice of keeping the 6 times. On everyday basis, whosoever is handling the public grievances, CPGram portal or your IGNOU portal, please make it a habit to resolve them on day-to-day basis. I know it's difficult, but then we have to do it. Because now, as I told you, that there are concerns of vigilance, there are concerns of the Swachhata campaign, and this is not a one-time affair. Last year, Swachhata campaign took place for 15 days, for 1 month, this time again for 1 month. It does not mean that for next year we have to wait. We have to embed those systems and processes in our system now, so that kind of institutionalizing of these activities in our mainstream activities is one of the most important issues. So pendency has to be reduced. We have been doing it on weekly basis, but on daily basis, it should be brought down to 0. So how fast you do to resolve the grievances is again an issue for us. And gradually let us get into a situation of every day we will bring it down to 0. Then we will be doing a good job in this regard. Second is the quality of the responses and the linguistic sophistication, which matters a lot. I just want to mention a kind of quotation of a civil rights activist, that the people will forget what you said or the people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So that is something very true in the context of when we address the student. The quality of our response, sometimes we may not be having the answer to their problem. And we may like to, 20% of the grievances, every regional center, I have seen that 18 to 20% grievances, they forward to different divisions of the SAD or MPDD. Sometimes I know that you may not be having exact answer to their problem, but how through your linguistic sophistication, you handle the situation, how you make them feel at ease with the system is very important. And that is where the quality of your response matters a lot. I have seen that because we have also been monitoring the responses which have been given by the regional centers. And in 1 or 2 regional centers, what I've seen is that a student who had complained about their assignment grade non-reflection of assignment grade. And the response which was given by the regional center was to, when the student was asked to contact the study center and tell them to send the award list. That is not a kind of a response which actually will make the student feel good about particular. I'm not saying that sometimes you might face problem, but ultimately the same thing in a better way you can say. But in any case, students should not be made to contact the study center for sending the award list. So quality of responses matters a lot. And that is again an area in which when we are talking about the grievance redressal systems in the regional center, the quality, just sending the response is not important. The quality and the linguistic sophistication which is there is much more important. Face-to-face grievance redressal, the students come for sometimes for far-flung places. I've seen that in RSD also students keep coming here also. And I've seen that one day a student came here from Mumbai and she said that I don't belong to Mumbai, I belong to some other place. First I went to Mumbai and from Mumbai then I came. So their study center also might have told to contact university headquarters. So that is the kind of situation also we often encounter where the students come to us from far-flung places. Our assignment grades were not reflected and then we took up the matter. I said that you don't have to go anywhere now, we will take up the matter. So we took up the matter with ICD and somehow it was resolved that day. I am not trying to find fault with the regional center. What I mean to say is that sometimes the student's query, once it is recorded, you should not ask the student to run around to get the issues resolved from different divisions of the university. So that is an area, a challenging situation always, I know, because I have worked in the regional centers for more than 32 years. Such kind of issues quite often used to come to me when I was regional director. But then that is our professional requirement, We need to take it on top priority that the face-to-face grievance result of those students who come to us from far-flung places has to be taken up as a very sensitive matter. Then follow-up action on the student grievances. As I told you that 18 to 20% grievances are always forwarded on weekly basis by the regional centers. This figure, quite surprisingly, is uniformly the same in all regional centers. We have been sending you this consolidated feedback of student grievances and the patterns on weekly basis. For the entire year, how this means from every week we send this for the entire year, how it is building up, how the patterns of the student grievance redressal are there. So a lot of exercise we do at the level of RSD on this. So around 18 to 20% student grievances uniformly all the regional centers are sending to different divisions in the SAD and MPDD. But are we following up the action on these grievances? Why I'm saying is because the student when he comes to us or sends a grievance to us and we forward it to say MPDD, and after that if we don't take care of what has happened to that query is an issue for us. Because even if we send a mail back to the student after some time, maybe we can ask whether your grievance has now been resolved. Do you have still the same grievance or something, or maybe a phone call can go to them. This is a good practice we can initiate. Maybe this is a way we can make them feel good about our system. So follow up actions in whatever way. I'm not saying that make phone calls or they send emails. In whatever way we can make them feel good, please do that. You can also invite them for a web meeting or for all those students who have complained to the regional center about on the issues. Maybe you can invite on weekly basis for a web meeting or something like that. You are the best judge, but my point is that follow-up action is required, and that is something which is required at the RC level because this grievance redressal system is of course being done in a commendable way, but these are the areas in which we need to improve. Reduce the response time, reduce and make the quality better, make this a follow-up action on the student grievances, talk to the students who are coming to you with in a face-to-face setting, and these are all the issues as far as our monitoring is concerned. And some possible ways, for instance, frequently asked questions or the proactive declaration of information under RTI. I don't know how many RCs are doing it, or but the proactive declaration of our university headquarters also on our website is not very much visible, or it does not carry enough information. So I think from headquarters point of view, we also have to update it. But these are some of the possible ways. A good frequently asked questions, maybe in the regional languages, Hindi, English, and we need to. Some time back, I had taken initiative to compile such frequently asked questions, and we have done it around 21 regional centers have responded. We had sought information about what are the frequently asked questions from your regional centers. So around 21 regional centers had responded. So we will send you a reminder on this, but we will compile a good document on the frequently asked questions, and we will submit it to Student Grievance Redressal Committee also. So let us hope that very soon we will be having such a compiled document of FAQs, which is we can put up on the website. It will reduce our grievances, public grievances. And proactive declaration of information under RTI is a requirement, and that is something which we have to do. And rising queries every month is again an area of concern. And it is quite understandable that enrollment is increasing. So queries will obviously come up. Number of queries will also increase. But that is not something very healthy situation, that if your enrollment is increasing, your number of queries will also increase. What we have seen is that as per the data, 10 to 20% rise every year in these queries is being noticed. For instance, like if I talk about October 21, it was 29,319 per week. In the recent week, I am talking about. This is not yearly, this is a weekly data. October 2022, recent week data, that is 34,300. So that shows that a number of queries or the grievances of the students from our systems are increasing. And obviously, if we don't address this issue at the systemic level through whatever possible ways, FAQs or proactive declarations of the information, then we will make our job difficult. We should, then every day we'll have to deal with more number of queries. So let us try to find out ways to handle this situation, and through best practices. And you are welcome. And if you have any good idea in your mind, please send it to RSD. And if there is any good idea, we'll try to implement it. Awareness generation program around 6-7. This is a few days back. Actually, I had prepared this slide. But some of the regional centers, there are many more regional centers. I know I have missed out some of the regional centers. Actual number is around 10 to 12, I think. But Vatakara, Patna, Jaipur, Bhopal, Kolkata, Trivandrum, and Bangalore, they have organized some awareness generation workshop on this special campaign, record management related issues or e-waste related issues or things like that. I compliment you for doing it, because we asked you to do it in a very short period of time, and other activities are also going on in the regional centers. So thank you very much. And space freed, as I told you, that total space occupied by the obsolete material in 43 RCs and RSD was 37,518 square feet, and total space which has been freed in this special campaign is 18,027. This is of the figure of 43 RCs, if you include RSD, total 44 cleanliness sites. So a good number, and actual number will be more, which we will circulate. We will circulate a compiled report on this, so you will come to know about it. So I think this figure must reach something like 20 to 22,000 square feet, which is very impressive, and I compliment you for making such interventions. RC Vatakara, for instance, these figures I found very interesting, that earlier, before intervention, this was the picture, and after intervention, this cleanliness site has come up. Similarly, Khanna, and earlier the material was kept like this, but now they have systematically kept it, so a lot of space has been generated. Similarly, Hyderabad, what we see here is that before intervention, this is the way this obsolete material was kept, but they have put it there in a disposable form, and they have initiated the activity of disposal. Quite interesting. And Bhubaneswar, similarly, they have removed the disposed obsolete material. Those earlier pictures are not there, but now their this, warehouse looks like this. Also, Guwahati, they have separated this obsolete material and they have initiated the process for its disposal. Have you done it? If you have done it, so please share pictures. And these are only few pictures which I could put in this slide. I have many other pictures which I have not put here. Simplification of processes from RSD level. These are the areas in which we are working. Standard operating procedure, as all of you know, that standard operating procedures have been devised by RSD, and last year they were done, and now we are making it a practice that whenever a process or immediately exercise has to be implemented, we try to develop a standard operating procedure. Recently, we had a standard operating procedure for activities under Unnat Bharat Abhiyan also, which our regional centers only are doing it, because earlier also when RSD did it, we involved only the regional center, different regional centers who did this standard operating procedures. They were compiled by RSD, and then through it was approved by the board also. So they are there on the website. So please try to use them. My point is a little different here because we had created these standard operating procedures for the students, but students corporates don't know that these procedures have been created, and our regional centers obviously know. So regional centers need those standard processes, fine, but at the same time, students need it much more than we need it. Means, so please see that our students come to know about these standard operating procedures which are there on the website. Though these SOPs should be there in the program guide, it would have been nice if they could have been part of the program guide, but we will send emails to our program coordinators in different schools also to put the respective standard operating procedure in their program guide also, so that the students also come to know easily about it. Frequently asked questions, very soon we will be having frequently asked questions compilation. It will be a very huge compilation, I must tell you, because many good quality questions have come which are very frequently asked by the students, and we will update it. We will dynamically update it on our website. So I think it will not be advisable for us to print it. We should put it on the website, so and with the time to time we can update it also. Online systems are prominently used by our regional centers for grievance redressal. I know that most of the regional centers are regularly holding these online systems, these web meetings with the students for the grievance redressal. And we get these reports through our monthly monitoring of the regional centers. Every month we get that data, and a very big compiled document of all the regional centers is created, which is put up to the Vice Chancellor for his information, and we have a lot of data about the regional centers in that report. So what I've seen is that our RCs are using these online systems in a big way for grievance redressal. Some prominent best practices which have been reported through the report is this feedback which we have received from the regional centers. Some of these things have been reported to me through the WhatsApps also. Very soon we will compile all the good practices. For instance, RC Delhi 2, I found it very good that they have used this old panel of partitions which they had in the earlier building. They have reused it for installation and creation of chambers in new premises. So I compliment you, all the team members of RC Delhi 2, for taking that initiative. It obviously has reduced a lot of expenditure which otherwise would have been there. And then old furniture of RC was again, they repaired it, and very innovatively they used it. They are again using it after repair. So that is again good. It's a good practice. So we should try to see that in what way we can reuse the existing material. Old racks of RC Delhi 2 are being distributed among LSCs for their reuse for the activities related to this. RC Delhi 2 again has all the major meetings, including local purchase committee meetings or the orientation programs being conducted through virtual mode. Because whenever I remember the last time when they had a meeting, one of their resource person was not there was out of station, but they took him on through online meeting and then they completed their project. So this kind of practices I think are good, so that we can minimize expenditures and on the conveyance and refreshments, etc. And then RC Bijapur, for instance, they've reported that white papers they have completely use of for any office use, they have significantly minimized it. So my compliments to you. RC Gopal also, they have been using the white papers on both the sides. So means on the one side, if it is the work on the one side of the white paper is done, they use the other side also for pasting the vouchers and all. That is again a good practice I find. Then many other RCs might also be doing it, but this is what I've been reported by RC Gopal. RSP, standard operating procedures, are being used to simplify the procedure. For simplification of procedures, let me again reiterate that it is a major focus area of the special. Special formats are being developed for the submission and of different kind of proposals which we receive from the regional centers. So very soon these specific formats will help us to simplify the process. So please keep us informed about your good practices. All the RCs are doing extensive use of social media for program promotion purpose. And that is quite interesting that none of the regional centers issues any advertisement in our system. But still, we have this time around 5 lakh students have taken admission in our fresh admission. And similarly, the re-registration also has increased by 10%. So all these things are happening without issuing any advertisements in the newspapers. So significantly, we have reduced the expenditure, and instead what we have been doing is that prominent mode is the social media. Our regional centers are not even printing these pamphlets and other. I think that with these otherwise the newspaper inserts and all, that during the Corona period, that was practice has significantly come down. But we have not said no to it. You can always distribute leaflets and all. But what I've seen is that social media has become so powerful that most of the regional centers are able to do their job with social media. So that is again, I feel that is a good practice. Nearly zero pendency of student grievances. That is again a good practice. Student grievance redressal camps through Google Meets and development of videos and all. These all the RCs are doing. I mentioned these good practices, these best practices. Why? Because this is a major parameter which has been given in the special campaign 2.0. And they've said that best practices should be generated and they should be compiled and they should be encouraged. So our regional centers are doing it. I am very happy about it. Thank you very much. And I must extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Jaideep Sharma sir once again for giving me this opportunity. And I hope that with the kind of support our regional centers have been giving to RSD and to all the different divisions of the university, we will be able to
thank you, Dr. Pandey.
Achieve the objectives of the special campaign and in a way to the concerns of the vigilance, to CVO also, because all these things are actually the concerns of the CVO also, which we have been doing under Swachhata campaign.
Really, I agree with you, and it would not have been possible had this not been there. And you are very right. Yes, this is also part of vigilance because this affects our working, and this is all very really required. I'll request the audience in case they have any clarifications or they would like to add to what we have discussed. You are welcome, please. Any questions? Again, the audience have requested for a copy of your presentation. We'll be happy to share in case.
Yes. I will send it through email. There are certain corrections, so I will do it. I think Dr. Kasturi Pasila wants to ask a question. She was writing something. It seems okay. Fine.
Yes, please. Anyone having a question?
Doesn't matter. I think because most of the things which I told were actually done by these activities were undertaken by the regional centers only, so they already know about it, what they have done.
Yeah. But then it was information for all of us. The way you have been working, this is really great. We all appreciate for all these efforts that you have put in.
Okay.
So I think we are near lunchtime also. Maybe people are waiting to have their lunch. But then it was really a very informative session. And thanks for your participation also. Thanks to RSD. Thanks to.
Thank you very much for organizing these two talks. They were really very useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
पांडे साहब, देवकांत राव और बाकी हमारे सारे कलीग्स को बहुत धन्यवाद जो ये अरेंज किया गया. थैंक यू सो मच. बहुत बढ़िया रहा.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all of you for joining us and sparing your time. You're all busy otherwise. You have really helped us.
Thank you, sir.
So we'll take leave now, and I hope that you are all organizing student redressal camp at the regional centers.
Yes, sir. We are already one each over.
Yes,
Today,
yes.
Andhra we are doing.
I think that is a very important point. Professor Jagdish Sharma ji ने मुझसे कई बार कहा भी था, और मैंने this information I have already communicated to all the regional centers. So please ensure that every regional center is organizing an awareness camp, and most of the regional centers have communicated that they have already scheduled it. But those who have not done it, please ensure that within this week, this camp should be organized and a report should be sent to Chief Vigilance Officer.
Yeah, we'll be happy to receive the report. Some photographs also. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Madam, NSB Academy.